Welcome to Good Morning Thailand. There's been a mass shooting in Thailand and 37 people have been killed. An ex-policeman has killed at least 37 people, most of them children, in a gun and knife attack at a childcare center in northeast Thailand. Police say that he then killed himself and his family after a manhunt following the attack in Nong Bua Lampu province. Children and adults are among the casualties at a nursery, and police say the attacker mostly stabbed his victims before fleeing the scene. At least 23 children were among the dead in the mass killing in the town of Uthai Sawan. Some victims aged as young as 2 were attacked as they slept. A teacher who was 8 months pregnant was also among those stabbed to death, as well as 14 other adults who were either shot or stabbed. Police officers arriving at the attack were confronted with horrific scenes, the bodies of adults and children, some of them very young, lying inside and outside of the building. Police Chief Damrong Sak said, "After inspecting the crime scene, we found that the perpetrator tried to break in, and he mainly used a knife to commit the crime by killing a number of small children." Eyewitnesses were quoted saying the attacker had driven into bystanders and opened fire at some of them, injuring several people as he tried to make his escape. Then he got out and started killing anyone he met along the way with a gun or a knife until he got home. The police then surrounded the house and then found that he committed suicide in his home. About 30 children were at the facility when the shooting happened, a pink one-story building surrounded by a lawn and small palm trees, when the attacker arrived. Fewer than usual heavy rain kept many children from attending the school that day, said the sub-district official Kun Jidapha Bunsom, who was working in a nearby office.
Yeah, the killer, Police Sergeant Panya Kamrab, who's age 34, was expelled from the police force on June 15th for possession of meth. He was 5 months earlier on Jan 20th when he reportedly confessed to the charges. He had gone to the court earlier that morning, just prior to the shooting. According to the deputy police chief, the mother of the gunman told him after leaving the court he appeared stressed out, he took some narcotics, and started to feel paranoid. He added that the mother of the culprit said he grabbed his gun and headed to the Child Development Center. Police said the attacker weapon was a 9mm pistol and it had been obtained legally. The spokesman for the Royal Thai Police also warned netizens to not share clips or pictures of the shooting to avoid deepening the traumatic experiences suffered by the families of the victims, as well as people in the local community. Also, spokesman for the 4th Provincial Police Region said the gunman likely held a grudge after he was sacked, reinforced by the effects of drug abuse, yet it was still unclear why he chose the target, which were children. Possibly it was because the kids were a vulnerable target. Furthermore, Their Majesties the King and Queen have conveyed their condolences to the families of the victims killed in a mass shooting which happened yesterday. The National Police Chief also said that the Privy Councillor representing His Majesty was scheduled to arrive in the province to follow up on the situation. His Majesty the King will provide help to the families of the deceased and injured. President of the Privy Council, General Surayut Jalanon, along with 3 other Privy Councillors yesterday visited some of the victims which are being treated at the Nong Bua Lampu Hospital. They also visited the family of a 3-year-old boy who was seriously injured in the shooting and was recovering from a brain surgery. The Privy Council has personally conveyed a message of condolences from their Majesties to the families of the victims of Thailand's worst mass shooting. Their Majesties also offered to take all the injured under the royal patronage and to sponsor a royal cremation for all the killed victims. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha, meanwhile, said he was saddened by the incident. He said that this is something that should never have happened. He will be visiting the crime scene today. The Prime Minister also ordered all government agencies to fly the national flag at half-mast today as a sign of mourning for the shooting victims. Meanwhile, the United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, has also released a statement condemning the mass shooting, which happened yesterday, which 38 people which include the shooter himself, which has mostly young children were the victims. UNICEF stated that they are saddened and shocked by the attack and that it condemns all forms of violence against children. They said that no child should be a target of or witness to violence anywhere, anytime. The statement also reads that early childhood development centers, schools, and all learning spaces must be safe havens for young children to learn, play, and grow during their most critical years. UNICEF also offered their condolences to the victims' families and urged the public and the media to refrain from sharing photos related to the attack out of respect for the families' grief. Many Thais took to social media using the Thai hashtag mass shooting in Nong Bualampu to condemn the attack and to offer their condolences to the victim's family. Also, a number of world leaders have also expressed shock over the attack. UK Prime Minister Liz Truss tweeted, "I am shocked to hear of the horrific events in Thailand this morning. My thoughts are with all those affected and the first responders. The UK stands with the Thai people at this terrible time." Also, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese tweeted, "It's impossible to comprehend the heartbreak of this horrific news from Thailand. All Australians send their love and condolences." The White House and the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres both expressed shock at the attack and sent condolences to the victims' families. Meanwhile, Thailand's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman Thani Sangrat tweeted, "My deep condolences to the families of the young victims of the shooting in Nong Bualampu province, which happened in northeastern Thailand, such an unusual and saddening incident in our country." Meanwhile, Bangkok Governor Chathad Sithipan posted a message on his Facebook and Twitter, which translates as, "Losing your children is the harshest tragedy for all parents. I would like to offer my condolences to all families of the victims, and I would like to encourage every one of us in getting through this horrific tragedy." Yesterday's rampage was the worst mass shooting in the country since a soldier opened fire at the Terminal 21 shopping mall and other locations in Nakhon Ratchasima on February 8, 2020. In 2020, the gunman killed 29 people and wounded 58 others before being shot dead. So a little bit about the gun laws in Thailand here. Just a quick update, gun ownership in Thailand is relatively high compared with other countries in Southeast Asia. There were more than 10.3 million civilian-owned firearms in Thailand, or around 15 guns for every 100 people, according to 2017 data from Switzerland-based Small Arms Survey. Approximately 6.2 million of those guns are legally registered. Thailand ranks as the Southeast Asian country with the second highest gun homicides after the Philippines, according to the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington's 2019 Global Burden of Disease database.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a difficult day for all Thai people and Thailand in general, and there's been a lot of support coming from not just our viewers, but all the people around the world. At this time, we would just, on behalf of the Thaiger, we'd like to send our condolences to the lives that were lost and to the families that are suffering. And we're going to decide to end today's Good Morning Thailand just talking about this topic. We'll return with our regular show next week. However, we felt out of respect that we would dedicate this episode to provide the most up-to-date latest information on the mass shooting in Thailand. For more updates and incoming information, please visit thethaiger.com. We have reporters constantly reporting on this story, as well as we will be having more informational videos coming out later today. For now, we would like to ask you to let us go for this episode. We'll be back next week, and we thank you for watching the show so far, and hope you join us in our prayers for these children, adults, and families that are suffering. Thank you very much. We hope to see you next week.